But it's been a profound Easter holidays for me, working with so many different young people and their parents, and seeing really, yeah, really beautiful, like magnificent results in young people who were kind of under the cosh, parents, whether they wanted to or not, applying quite a lot of pressure, and parents feeling under pressure themselves, and just seeing the incredible results of allowing these young people to take on some of the responsibility. So many times as parents, we're in the way. We're kind of in the way of our kids taking on responsibility. It's the last thing we think we want to be doing, but we continue to take responsibilities. We continue to manage. We continue to hold the main burden. And this last Easter holidays has really taught me, again, something which I've learned many times, but it's every time it's like a new revelation, to see the results of allowing someone who's 14 or 15 to go about their own day, to go about their own revision program, to step into that void left by a parent who's saying, "Okay, listen, I'm not gonna manage this anymore." And actually, not even with that tone of voice, no blame, no, just a sense of like, "Okay, it's up to you now. Go for it. I'm right here for you. Let me know if there's anything you need, and good luck." Like it's over to you. Let's have a nice. I mean, the harmonization of relationship in these cases. It's just so beautiful to see the ease, the natural ease. Of course, these parents are experiencing far greater ease because they're not doing this to themselves anymore. They're not punishing themselves and their child anymore by trying to manage their workflow, their bedtimes, their revision schedules, their gaming times, everything about them. So the parents get to have a holiday from that, and it's win-win. It's win-win for the parents and for the teenagers, because the teenagers are like, that's what they've been asking for. That's why the intensity starts to crank up. So beautiful to see your emojis, Lila. Great to be together. Yeah, the young people are really, that's where this friction starts to come about. That's where the conflict starts to grow. That's where the difficulties start to grow, is in actually simultaneously the young person's desire for self leadership, whether they know it or not, whether they would call it, they would never call it that, but it's a wish for responsibility, not a wish to avoid responsibility. And at the same time, many parents being caught a bit on the hoof, about, wow, how do I shift? How do I shift my parenting from these first 12 years where I've been so much needing to hold that responsibility? How do I watch my son or daughter running their own lives in a way that I don't like? The typical image would be, um, you know, a boy in his room just gaming away. Like it's mostly the boys that I'm teaching at the moment who seem to have this challenge, or those are the households that are struggling with that. And hearing the language coming out of that room, the way they all relate on the game, um, all of these kind of things. One thing we have to be very careful of is to be trying to hold in place a good looking picture the whole time. Like that's insane. It's insane in the process of parenting a teenager to think that it's got to look good all the time. They've got to look like the model son or daughter all the time. It doesn't leave any room for learning. It doesn't leave any room for mistakes. And it doesn't leave any room for them to like really step into the driving seat, and to run it themselves. It's not always going to look pretty. It really isn't. And so, you sometimes as a parent, you've got to listen to your children experimenting with things, and getting things wrong, overdoing it, not having any balance, and just see like how that, just by touching in with them about it, keeping the communication channels open, talking with them about it, seeing how they naturally reflect on it themselves and go, actually, yeah, this holidays, I really haven't achieved kind of what I wanted to achieve. or I have had like way too much time in front of the screen. You know, how do we learn that kind of self-regulation otherwise? So yeah, it's a brief one today, just about trust. I have seen, if you missed the beginning of this live, just seen such incredible results from parents that I'm working with, just because they're the only parents that I get such a direct feed from them. So, you know, it's not a plug for my work. It's just because I get such an open feed from them and from their children. So in my role, I have this luxury of coming in and I can listen to the parents, exactly what's going on for them. I can listen to the teens, and I build great, powerful, sincere, trusting, fun relationships with young people. And so, you know, they tell me what's going on. I'm in there as a kind of broker sometimes for the parent relationship. I'm like, okay, what time do you want to go to bed? And what time do you want him in bed, or him or her in bed? It is mostly boys I'm working with right now. But yeah, so it's a fascinating vantage on how this shift from managing or parenting in that way when they're young, how it goes when you start opening up and trusting, parents just handing over responsibility. You know, it is a handover. So it's not like you just drop it all on them. It can take 5, 6 years to hand over gradually. You know, time of just seeing them, like seeing the picture not looking good. You know, those times when you just look at them and you're like, wow, I'm a terrible parent. Look at this. They're up. They're still up. It's 4 in the morning. Or you know, they're just on their game the whole time, fearing that there's going to be this summer, a whole summer of gaming, you know, whatever it might be, and judging yourself for how they are. We shouldn't really worry too much about like right now how it looks. What are we trying to do? We're trying to produce adults who can run their own lives, who make good decisions, who are morally and ethically sound, you know, who go out and have thrilling life work, like a life work that delights them, you know. So we're looking at something that's like way off. We're trying to build in that good decision making, that self leadership, that autonomy now, so that they have that for life. So it doesn't matter how it looks. The alarming sort of vision of what it might look from one day to the next isn't an accurate portrayal of your parenting or of their future. So trust all the way for me. Yeah, like I say, it's been such a busy time. I haven't prepared anything else to say today other than just to reflect back my complete joy at seeing young people given more freedom, more autonomy, and their parents also going, wow, okay, yeah, this is way nicer for our relationship. And yeah, you can begin to you can start to see the results, the general restfulness in the house, the fact that they're leading more and like settling down, getting their homework done, maybe spending longer on it, you know, getting good feedback from teachers suddenly. You know, like this stuff comes out, look, it doesn't come out of like hard work and you standing over them and like it comes out of letting them go, and like you actually don't know. It's a leap of faith. I've always talked about it as a leap of faith, and it is. You know, as parents, we need to make from a very young age this leap of faith where we allow them to run their own lives, to manage themselves and to make mistakes, to come to us for support. We're always there for them, and we want them to always know that, and to be in open communication with them about everything. Just checking in, how's it going? How can I help?